Hey guys, it's Felicia Banks, your FC Tucker Realtor, helping you find your way home. And when I'm not helping you find your way home, it is my desire to help you, motivate you, encourage you, inspire you, whatever. Be your number one cheerleader of getting in tune with that God-given gift and talent and dream and anointing, everything that He has poured inside of you, placed inside of you. I want to motivate you to truly get in tune with that thing and make that thing happen. All right. So if you want to see this video and other motivational videos, please go to our website at move333.net. But today's video is called See It Before You See It, if you're ever going to see it. Now, our family, we actually, we worship at Eastern Star Church in the Indianapolis area, and we have a remarkable pastor and first lady. Pastor Johnson has a way of truly breaking down the word so that it is so incredibly crystal clear that you almost think that sometimes you can actually reach out and touch the words as he's actually saying them. And we so appreciate that about his teaching. One of the things that he has said to us before is when God has placed something down inside of you, and He has for all of us, when He has done that, you have to get in line with His plan, and you have to see it before you see it if you're ever going to see it. Now, there is a favorite meme of mine on social media that says it this way. It says that if God says I've got it, I'm going to walk like I already have it. Okay, I love that. I am part of the production team. That's part of my service. The way I actually plug in and give back at my church. And I'm part of the production team, and I do one of the people that does the voiceovers for the video announcements. And that's what I do right now. Okay, I do the video announcements for our church. But if we were to actually rewind that tape a few years ago, you would actually see God teaching me that in order for me to actually see that thing that He had promised, which was me doing the video announcements for my church, I had to see it before I see it if I was ever going to see it. You rewind the tape, you would actually see God showing me how to walk like I already had it before I actually had it. And so I remember it was about 6 years or so ago, the church actually presented the video announcements to the congregation for the first time. And immediately when I saw the announcements, I knew that this was a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to plug in and serve at my church. And so the very next day, I actually made a phone call and left a message saying that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to serve as part of the production department, and I wanted to do the voiceovers for the video announcements. And then I left another message, and then I left another message, and that's not the point of my story. As a matter of fact, I'm a firm believer that God actually blocked those messages from getting to the person it needed to get to because He knew that He had to get me to take a test first. He knew that He had to get me ready for the video announcements first. And so I prayed about it, what is it, Lord, that you would have me to do? And so plain as day, He told me that I want you to go to the church's website and I want you to actually print off the announcements. There was a script that they always put on the website of the announcements that were of the previous Sunday's video announcements. Print off that script, He said, and I want you to go and I want you to just practice reading it out loud every single week. Didn't make a bit of sense to me, but I have lived long enough in my lifetime to know that when God says do it, just do it. And so that's what I did. It was week after week. I would go to the website, print off the announcements. I would go into my prayer room and I would out loud read the announcements. And I know that Nate and Brooklyn were probably sometimes thinking, who is she in there talking to? But I was being obedient and doing what God had told me to do. And I did this week after week, and weeks turned into months, and it was months and months that went by, and I had totally forgotten about even the expectation of someone calling me and asking me to do the video announcements for the church. I was perfectly content knowing that because God had told me to do it, that He obviously was getting me ready for it. I just needed to be obedient and do my part. I needed to be cooperative with what His plan was. And then out of nowhere, it seems it was one Sunday, and I remember being out in the foyer after service, and someone approached me. Actually, it was one of the associate pastors approached me, and he said, Felicia, very matter of fact, Felicia, you've been trying to get in touch with us about the video announcements. I'm going to have someone from the from the production department give you a call and get that whole thing set up. And to this day, ever since then, I have been doing the video announcements for our church. Now, here is the point of the story. God declares a thing, and then he makes that thing happen. And we see it as early as Genesis 1:3. It says that God declared it, God said it, let there be light. And then immediately following that, there was light. But you know what? If we back it up to verses 1 and 2, it says, in the beginning that God created heaven and the earth was formless and empty, and darkness covered the deep water. And then the Spirit of God was hovering. And that's the part that I want you and I to focus on. The Spirit of God was hovering. Before we get to verse 3, when God declares, let there be light, and then there was light, we first see the Spirit of God moving. And that's very, very, very key. God, I believe, has a plan for your life, a plan for my life, and he is very purposeful. He's very intentional about his plans. And in my opinion, every plan that he has, it pretty much follows this 3-step process. Let's take a look at it. If we go back to Genesis 1, verse 2, we see again the Spirit of God hovering. We see the Spirit of God moving. And then we go to verse 3, and it says, God said it, God declared it, let there be light. And then we move on. And then after he says it, he makes that thing happen. Now let's look at my situation with doing the video announcements. Me as a believer, God's Spirit is moving inside of me. He's working all things out for my good. He is hovering inside of me. And then one day God declared it, Felicia, you're going to do the video announcements. He declares it first. And then with my cooperation, God manifests that thing. Now let's look at your situation. In your case, as a believer, again, God's Spirit is moving inside of you. He is hovering inside of you. And then all of the good works that he planned out for you to do, he has placed in those seeds inside of you. That book, that business, that ministry, that job, whatever it is, those dreams, he's placed those things inside of you. He prepared them in advance just for you. They're inside of you. He declared it. And with your cooperation, he's going to bring that thing to pass. Now, what do I mean by with your cooperation? If you have been praying for marriage and you are now married, he placed that thing inside of you, and your prayer has been, you know what, I just need XYZ from my husband. I need my husband to just listen to me and to help me around the house. Your cooperation with God in that plan, he will bless you with that. But your cooperation doesn't look like you going home after making that prayer and then cussing your husband out because he didn't take the trash out. Your cooperation with God and his plan, you've been praying for better experiences with your marriage or with your spouse. It doesn't look like you going home and complaining because dinner is not on the table. What it does look like, however, is you saying to your spouse, you know what, babe, I know that you too had a busy day. So why don't you and I together get in the kitchen and prepare dinner? That's what the cooperation looks like. Guys, I prayed for the longest about quality time in our marriage, my marriage with Nate. And Nate actually, if you don't know him, he's got to be one of the hardest working men on the face of the earth. And he has a lawn care business, and he has maybe 20 clients or so. And I remember him always in those warmer months when, you know, people are out taking care of the lawns. He was gone a lot in the evenings, and I'm just praying, Lord, I want quality time. I want quality time with my husband. And I was complaining and complaining and complaining. And one day God said, I'm hovering inside of you. You say that that's what you want. I want that for you also, but I need your cooperation. Stop complaining that he's out cutting grass and go help him cut the grass. It wasn't what I planned for the quality of time to look like, but God's ways are not my ways, yes? And so when I surrendered and did that thing, I have not felt closer to my husband than I do this day, because I cooperated with God's plan in answering my prayer. And so I want you to get from this video, I want you to know that God has a plan for you. He has things inside of you that are so huge that it would blow your mind if you got in cooperation with him. I want you to understand that you can do it. You can do it, and that you're not doing it alone, that God is saying, I will never leave you nor forsake you. He says, I'm with you every step of the way. And forsake you means I will not fail you, but we gotta give up our plan and we've got to get in line with God's plan. So, guys, whatever that thing is, I urge you, get in tune. Know that his spirit is moving inside of you. Know that when he declares a thing, it is as good as gold, but we've got to line up and cooperate with what it is that he is trying to do. And if you haven't already seen the video on our website, it's called Promise Street. That video is going to drive this video, the point of this video, all the way home for you. So I encourage you again to just go out there and be encouraged to see it before you see it in order for you to ever see it. I encourage you to go ahead and posture up and walk. Like if God has already promised you that thing, go ahead and walk like you already have it. The world is in need of everything that God has placed inside of you and everything that God has placed inside of me. And it's time for us to get in line and to cooperate with his plan so that this world truly can be a better place. Guys, again, go to move333.net to watch this video as well as other videos. I'm hoping with my whole heart that's going to encourage you to go out there and be all that God created you to be. All right, until next time, be blessed, continue to be a blessing, and remember that I am your number one cheerleader. Go out there and get in tune with God and his plan and make that thing happen. We'll see you next time.